Okay, so we are live on YouTube and we are live on Zoom. So thanks everybody who's joining us now. I have the pleasure to have as speakers with me today, Gabriel, who's the creative director for Ogilvy Social Lab in Belgium, and Rod, who's also a creative director for BBDO in Germany. So thank you so much for both of you to take the time to speak with me today. I think first of all, I would just let you introduce yourself to our audience. Gabriel, if you want to start.
Okay, thanks for having me here. It's really nice to be with Production Paradise again. We had a wonderful festival, I don't know, back a few months ago, and we weren't expecting this to happen. So, like about myself, I'm the global CCO for Ogilvy and Social Lab in Belgium. I'm taking care of the agencies around Europe and US.
Great, thank you. And Rod, live from Germany.
Hey, yes. So yeah, it's a pity that I'm not in Barcelona with you, but it was great as well to be there last year. My name is Ronnie Rika. I'm executive creative director here in Germany for BBDO, and I'm responsible for mainly the cars and some other global accounts here in Germany for BBDO.
All right, thank you. So I have collected some questions from our audience the past few days. Mm-hmm. So I think we just get straight into it. But I think first of all, I just want to hear, how are you guys doing in general?
Yeah, well, it's as we were talking like a few minutes ago, it's been a different time. We're kind of facing something really unexpected. It's that changed everything like so quickly and so rapidly that I believe we had to adapt. The good part on our side that as a social media agency, we had kind of like we've been working like home working and doing like working through Zoom calls like this one so many times. So that didn't affect us at all. What I'm feeling is there's a sense of being together and being together for ads. It's on the advertising industry. It's everything about people. So being together is exactly what we have to do. We're trying to keep up and trying together almost every day with the team. And I believe that the good side of this is that we are just doing meetings that are really necessary. And we are kind of like being closer than we were before, but I mean like a feels different. It's a bit weird, to be honest.
Okay, thanks. And you, how are you, Rod?
Yeah, I mean the word is surreal. It was like Gabriel said, it was so fast. Like within 2 weeks, everything was shut down, and we had to stay home, and we have to find a way to work remotely, and we had to find a way. That was the only way. Or we couldn't stop productions, we couldn't stop our work. We had to adapt. That's also a very it's an experience. Like we learned a lot in so little time. That was also the positive side of that, if there's a positive side.
There's always a positive side. So what would you say has changed the most in your like daily tasks?
I mean, what changed the most was the fact that I don't know, the day that I have less calls is around 6 or 7, and one day I already had 13 calls. And actually, I'm working more. I have the feeling that I'm working more than if I was at the office, because one comment that I need to give about something, it takes like 15 minutes, 20 minutes, because I have to connect with the person. The person has to be on time, so it demands a little bit of logistic as well. But in another hand, I think we improved in a lot of stuff. Like Gabriel said, we're feeling closer somehow. We're closer to the teams, to the producers, to everybody that needs to be involved in the production. And now we're doing stuff that I never thought would be possible.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, we'll talk a little bit about this later. Definitely want to hear, what has been different and what kind of projects you suddenly had to do compared to the previous times. And for you, Gabriel, like how has your day-to-day changed since a few weeks?
yeah. I mean, like I'm feeling like Rod. Like I feel like sometimes I think we are working 3 times more, to be honest. I think that the biggest difference is the journey changed completely. Like you wake up in the morning, you get a coffee, and you like turn on your computer, and you don't know when you're going to turn it off because I mean, like you don't have any plan, so you're just working. And what I'm trying to do now, it's like kind of respect the actual times to work. So like to have my stop for lunch, to have a few breaks for coffee, because like I was for almost a month, kind of like doing everything that I have to do without like sometimes to eat something. Like I just forgot. Like there was so much to do. Like but on the other hand, like I think the positive side that like I think Rod probably are feeling the same. There's a sense of being more connected to the creative team, which is really good because in our day by day in an agency, sometimes it's like kind of like pretty hectic, a lot of meetings, and you don't have a lot of time to do reviews. But now I can really come back and focus on the creative part of the work, which is the one that I love. So that's
Mm.
a good feeling.
Right. Good. Okay. So I think you know, what has changed the most is, you were both always going on productions to supervise the shoots, and of course this has been put on hold. Like how do you deal with that now? Did you find any way to, do it remotely, or did you come up with any ideas to overcome this?
Yeah, I mean, on my side, what we're trying to do, like, I think we had an increase on the edit side, like motion graphics and this part of the business that are being really important in these times. We're also like kind of like sometimes gathering with some directors, and they are kind of like doing a film inside their houses. So like they have as a casting their family,
Mm.
and they are shooting the film entirely in their backyards, and it's funny. But I mean, like it's a way to adapt, and also like we are kind of sometimes doing a few lives. So sometimes I need to get a portrait, and I need to direct the photographer like through Zoom, which is it's nice. Like it's a different feeling. Maybe we're gonna face a few moments after this lockdown is over that we're going to decide to not be present, but go through Zoom to save money. I
Mm.
mean, like it's kind of working. It's not the ideal, but it's working.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we got actually I was shooting in Austria, but I was shooting in Austria and then we had to come back in a hurry because Austria and the Tyrol was one of the most risky areas, and then we had to shoot fast and come back home. And then while I was here in Germany, I was already on quarantine, but I had to finish the editing of the film, and I never thought it would be possible also doing grading. That was one of the question marks that I had in my head, how I'm going to do grading if I'm not at a production company. But then they sent me an iPad with the same calibration of their monitors. So I could do it remotely. So this, I was like, wow, that's really cool. Thank God I'm in 2020. Then we can do that. And 3 weeks ago, we got briefed by WhatsApp, so we're doing like a global campaign for them. And it was the same team who did the client is the same team who did the Facebook ad, the new Facebook ad. And they told us, we don't want any stock material because we already did this really big film for Facebook. We don't want to use the same technique for WhatsApp. So you guys have to shoot something, and we create our scripts were like with a little bit of humor, so we couldn't just like shoot with regular people. We needed to find real actors who really were living with DOPs, with director of photography. So it was really hard to find 4 actors. who are living with DOPs. And then we found them, we cast them, and now we're gonna send 4 cameras to the guys. They're gonna shoot inside of their own homes, and we're gonna edit the film like remotely. That's all.
And is
So
that
I
all in
was like,
Germany?
okay, that's for it's global. It's
Global.
gonna be yeah.
Wow.
So that's hopefully there's one actor in New York. Hopefully he's still healthy.
And when do you expect the campaign like to be live so everybody can actually see it?
In less than 2 months. So it has to be really fast. Actually, that's really interesting that the client told me that the Facebook ad from concept to finishing it took 15 days to be ready.
Wow.
So in 15 days they're aired. Yeah. I don't know. I think Gabriel is also experiencing that the processes are much faster now with this lockdown. We really have to do so
Yeah,
much fast. I don't know.
that's the thing for me. Like we normally do, like there's, I mean, I'm doing a film since January for a client, and it's taking like 3 months now,
Mhm.
almost 4 months, and it's a bit crazy. But now like they decided to move on faster, so like we are kind of like approving everything. I think they can focus more on the work rather than that. That's what I'm saying. Like we are not exactly losing time with unnecessary things anymore.
Great.
Mhm.
So, I mean, I think we've all seen that kind of brands all around the globe are changing the way that they communicate their message to promote their services or their product. Like,
Yeah.
how did you guys adapt to that?
Yeah, I think the first thing that we're living a moment there's no room to be opportunistic. So we really need to be up to speed on the communication that are providing service, are providing kind of like increasing optimism on the person. We're not trying to oversell anything. We are just kind of adjusting through the tough time we're facing. I think many brands are kind of taking really bold statements, as like we did a campaign for Ford a few weeks ago. I think kind of a month ago. Well, it was in the beginning that we approve a campaign asking people to not drive a Ford. So like it's really bold statement to say like, please don't drive my cars. So stay at home, like stay parked. And we kind of like we did that on social media, and we also provide kind of like a document that people can uh, print and put it on their windows in the car, like to kind of like install a movement around their neighbors to do the same. And it was a different campaign. Like I never ever in my life thought that I was going to say to a car company to stay parked. So this is the difference. I think like the brands understood that they need to help. There's many of our clients that they are taking part of their budgets, and they are uh, putting this budget on the fight against the coronavirus. So that's also like a big stand. It's a bit tough for the agencies though, because we kind of losing revenue, which means that part of we need to protect our employees. So it's a really beautiful and really necessary to help on the fight of this crazy disease. But also on the other hand, there is a big question around what's going to happen with the agencies and the jobs.
Yeah, for sure.
Sorry, I lost my connection.
No worries. So, Rod, maybe you wanna take over
Yeah.
from the start. You were talking about the Home Depot, and then we lost you.
No, yeah, it's like Ever said. I think this the moment. It's the moment for brands not to try to sell, to try to impose sales to the consumers. It's more time for the brands to have messages and engage with help campaigns and do everything for the good of the humanity, not being greedy and try to do conversions in this moment. I mean, yeah, we are experiencing a lot of projects also being canceled, being put on hold. But I have the feeling that all the brands have the sense of like, wow, now we need to stop being this engine of sales and be a bit more on the help side. Like I also have Ford as a client, and they stopped their production and they asked their employees to start producing this face mask for doctors. So suddenly they stop producing cars and they start producing face masks to help doctors. And that there's a lot of examples like Louis Vuitton. They start producing perfumes and they start producing like this alcohol gels and to help the guys to have like some kind of uh, protection. So I really thought that this was incredible from the brand to not uh, take advantage and try to sell more, but in other hand to pass a message of, yeah, we are there with you, we are here with you in the worst moment. So I think this is the moment that brands has to do stuff like this, not being focused on sales, but more on the solution of the whole problem.
Right. And I mean, a lot of people are thinking, are agencies and brands going to go back to, what we call the normal type of ads in the future? Do you think, the mindset of those brands are going to change with that, or just going to go back to what they were doing before?
I think it's gonna change. I mean, this is a personal opinion, but I'm sure it's gonna change. It's like every time, like they said that we humanity improves with crisis. So whenever has a crisis around the world, there's something comes up better and some things disappear. So I think we're gonna go to the same process. Like uh, things gonna go uh, closer because now everybody's feeling a little bit more connect using internet to communicate. So I think the process will be faster. People will think a little bit. I think they will think a bit more strategically when they purchase something. They're gonna and people are gonna pay attention more to the environment. Hopefully, because I saw that in China they reopened the shops and Louis Vuitton sold 14 million euros on the first day.
Yeah.
So I have high hopes, but I don't know if we're gonna go in this path.
Yeah, I heard that the luxury brands, that's the first
Yeah.
thing that the Chinese went out and bought, which
Yeah, I
surprising.
don't know. Like I have the feeling that people might be changing a bit of the behavior of overconsumption for a
Mm-hmm.
while. I mean, like we're staying at home, so we are not going out. We don't need to impress anyone. So we probably like we are just living for the basics. So like we are buying food, we are buying drinks, we are trying to keep up like the positivity and but there's many things that are kind of changing. So like if you look at the latest research, like the online sales increased by 70%. So that means that people understood that they need to buy more and more online and they are going to do it anyway. So e-commerce, it's going to be a big deal, I believe, and then and for after the COVID crisis ends.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're gonna be living a new normal for a while. Like, okay, we're probably going to come back to our office, but we might change the way. Like, we might like put half of the people working a few days a week, and half of the people working from home, so we can respect kind of the social distance that is necessary to not increase the cases. There's also many questions around what's going to be the behavior afterwards. So I believe that few companies are going to understand that they can keep the home working and they can save money. They don't need more like this huge office. That might be a change for a while. I don't know. Like I feel that on the production side, I do believe that we're facing now, like, kind of, we need to produce something. We need it fast and we need it effective. And we are not caring a lot about craft. So I don't want crafts, like good crafts, changing. So like I hope that this kind of like feels like homemade videos are not going to be I don't know, a trend. Hopefully we're gonna come back to the normal life soon. But I mean, like for the moment, we need to adapt. So and we're trying to do that.
Yeah, someone was just asking earlier a question, I think Nick, asking if, if you've seen the quality of the ads, going down a little bit, and, if you think.
I think they're being more emotional, but I'm gonna post on the chat here, kind of like a video where they're showing that all the COVID ads are exactly the same.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's a bit funny at the same time. It's a bit annoying because as a creative agency, as a creative industry, we need to kind of like be innovative. But I mean, I think the message is kind of probably being aligned because the moment asked that.
Yeah. So I'll share
That's
that
it.
link also later with everyone who attended the chat, so they can see it.
Yeah. Also,
Go ahead.
regarding the message of the communication, I think it will be more real, less fantasy, less glorious, and a bit more down to earth, more real, more human. I think people are more interested in because we're gonna stay away so long from each other that we're gonna be more interested in, how are you doing, how are people doing, and what's her story, what's my story. This it's a circle that repeats. Like after the big crisis in the beginning of the century was the same, and I think we'll be the same. We'll be more focused on us.
So we have a lot of like photographers who are listening and producers. Of course, they are worried about the future, but as Gabriel says, you know, you guys are also hoping that high quality production will happen sooner than later. I don't know if you have any tips for them or anything you can suggest that they can do right now. Maybe some kind of, as for photographers, some kind of content they should be creating to try and adapt to what's coming.
So actually, I'm doing a campaign at the moment, and I had the lucky to shoot before, but the photographer is from South Africa, and we are doing the process remotely as well. So he's sending me the images, I'm selecting, then we are presenting to the client, we're having feedback, and we're retouching everything remotely. So he's able to do this like big think technology. We also be able to do that. But I mean, for new campaigns, especially in the sense that we have to be a bit more closer together. I would even recommend for the photographers producers to stick together, not try to save the situation by on his own and say, oh, the whole market is broken loose and I'm gonna do my own stuff and I don't care. So I think the opposite. I think they should stick together because in the end, when we're together, we tend to save the situation easier and we tend to find like solutions more easy. So I will like as a partner from photographers and from production companies, I always think that it's better to, look for production company to give me the possibilities like we needed now. We needed to find actors who lived with DOPs. If we're just like trying to find randomly, it will take it ages. So we went to a certain casting agency who looked for these people. So it was much easier. So I think photographers and producers have to stick together to try to, walk together against this horrible situation.
Thank you. Gabriel, any thoughts?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's the point for me, like when you comment about quality, and advertising is all about quality, and we're going to respect that for forever. Like craft is our DNA. That's the reason that I think the clients pay us to do it. So like if we started to do it like with our iPhones, like they don't need agencies anymore. They can do it by themselves. But I don't think it's gonna be a new normal. I think it's for the moment we are kind of trying to adapt. And we're being together. We're trying to make the best way possible. As I say, like I just did a film, and the director did the DOP, the direction and the edits by himself, like shooting everything at home.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's because we can't go out, so that's the new normal for the moment. I think in a few weeks we're probably going to slowly coming back to real life, and this is gonna start to change again. So like it's necessary probably to understand, like if the clients want to keep up with the productions in the short term. I think for the moment we have a lot of clients like kind of froze, like they put a lot of projects on hold, and that's kind of generating a bit of anxiety everywhere, like anxiety for the agencies, anxiety for the producers, and everyone else in the industry. So we need to protect our industry, and we need to show exactly why we're valuable for clients and everybody else. So I think we need also to take a stand together and show them that, of course, we have a crisis and we need to overcome that. But at the same time, we also need to protect people. So by protecting people, I mean making sure that people are going to have jobs and people are going to have work to at least pay their own bills. So we need to keep our business working, and I think I'm really optimistic as a Brazilian guy. As all Brazilians, we are really optimistic. But I mean, like the real life, it's probably a bit different than our big optimism. But I mean, like I hopefully in the next few weeks or the next month, we're kind of coming back a little bit to the normal.
So what would you say to a photographer right now, you know, who's... I'm sorry, Rod.
So, no, I was just to add on that we got used to work remotely and to work with you know, DOPs doing their own stuff, and we just give directions and they do it. I think photographers also gonna take advantage of that, so we can book photographers from, I don't know, from Finland, and we just give the roughs, and we give the directions, we give the layouts, and they can do the stuff remotely. So we don't need to, you know, to really focus on photographs that we can get hands on. I think this is going to be open for everybody, even for photographers. It's not going to be a bad thing to work remotely.
Yeah, I think just building up on Rod. I think there's a few cultural differences. I believe, like for example, when I talk about the Brazilian optimism, I was also talking about a bit of a cultural thing that are kind of like the Brazilian way of doing stuff, which is like being adaptable of any situation and trying to be flexible as much as possible. So we're trying to adapt, we're trying to think simple, and think simple in the ads means that are the most tough ideas to have, like the simple and good ones. So we are trying to come back to that, which is a really good thing for the industry, and can be on the criteria side of the ideas, can really improve the way we are doing things. But also, like, it's also a challenge for the producers that are kind of like maybe need to adapt, like the size of the productions, need to adapt the way we are going to shoot and the way we're going to deliver the message. So we're probably going to need to find some innovation there and find a new way of doing things during this period of time.
So I guess you would probably recommend for production companies to already think, you know, about how they're going to handle those kind of shoots in the future, and also they can be prepared. They can be prepared whenever they get those jobs to do it in the safest way possible. We had last week I had a chat with some production companies in China who are slowly getting back into production, and for them they were saying the most important thing is really safety, and they are more or less virus free for now, and they really want to keep it this way. So I think it's very important for production companies to to learn from that and to be prepared to change the way they are doing things in the future. And the same thing for photographers. So talking about photographers, as I was saying earlier, again, a lot of them are worried. They're not really working right now. What would you give them as an advice? What would you recommend for them to do during this downtime?
Right.
I mean, it's like the first thought we had when we got the briefing was like, okay, let's go find a production company in China because they're already reopening, and that's what they told us. Yeah, we cannot even like do whatever we want at the moment. So I think it's easier for you guys if you do the other way around, because for us to find like a international casting here that's like able to fly people in and out. So that's why we took this other path, trying to find people who are living with DOPs. And I believe that in the near future we're gonna work not in a different style, but the quality is, like Gabriel said, the quality is always super important to our job. So especially in the agencies that we're working for, that the clients expect nothing but the best. So we always have to find good photographers, good directors, good production companies. We're always going to try to find these professionals to work with us. So I think the industry is slowing down at the moment, but I think like step by step, we're gonna go back, find ways to work together and to come back to the same quality of work that we had before.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I think we are. I don't know. Like I think all the advertising people are anxious by nature. So like I'm facing anxiety attacks. Like okay, we need to do it. When? But I mean, like I believe now, like it's a time to reinvent ourselves, and how can we do quality in these tough times? So like, how can we count with the producers, the photographers, the production companies that can provide us like with I don't know, solutions that are going to respect the crazy time we're living, like where the budgets are being much less than we used to, and also the timings are changing. So how can we adapt on that? So like this is exactly what we expect from the guys. So that's pretty much that.
Thanks. So, I mean, you were both here in November last year to review the work of photographers. You were doing it face to face, mainly on a printed portfolio. A lot of people were asking, should they still promote their work? In this case, online, is it the right time? Should I just, leave you alone and not trying, to show maybe the latest work or their personal work? What do you think about that?
I think if they have something different to provide us to kind of like catch our eyes, and we are looking for solutions, and I mean like solutions that we can try to solve internally, or that we can have someone to solve it for us. So like, okay, what can you provide me as a different technique for social media, for example? Like what video or what photograph technique that we can use, and that can be fast and we can react fast to provide something to the client. So what I believe, like if it's something relevant, like they need to share. But I mean, if it's only like the last work they did, or if it's only about like, okay, I know everyone is struggling and everyone is looking for more jobs for the moment. But I believe that is not the right time to overshare things. Maybe if it's a personal project that is aligned with the situation, I believe it's fine. I would like to see that. And also like innovation and techniques that are going to help us to face this moment. But a part of that, I feel that we have a lot on our plates.
Hmm. Exactly. I totally agree with Gabriel. For example, yesterday, I'm working on a briefing. I don't know why, but Ford is launching the new Mustang Mach 1. It's like the most powerful Mustang ever built, and they are continuing with this briefing. So this car is like a real beast, and we're looking for like a non-traditional visual for that, especially on when it comes to key visuals. And I was looking for a lot of different photographers, and I I didn't find what I was looking for. So it's always important to send if you have like unique stuff that you really recently put together, or you had ideas, or you just recently thought about and shot. I think it's super relevant to share, because there are always professionals looking for stuff. The brands maybe for the moment holding some projects, but other projects are running on the back. For example, we have clients like Dr. Oetker that's selling through the roof. So they never sold as much product as now. So they are producing 24/7 commercials and everything. So it's a double-sided situation. Some companies are not selling that much. So I stopped. Like for example, the car industry is not doing great. But in another hand, for example, e-commerce companies, um, goodies, and all this kind of stuff, they are selling through the roof, and they're not stopping the production. So I think photographers, just like any profession, shouldn't be like frozen. They should be trying to find solutions to continue working.
Yeah. I mean, you know, at Production Paradise, we kind of publish the latest work usually from
Hmm.
leading photographers, and we have been advising some photographers, you know, to keep promoting their work and maybe showing some of their personal work. I think it's the time to experiment even in their home, and I think,
Hmm.
you know, if they
Yeah.
ever wanted to show some different techniques, I think it's the right time. And I think you just both,
Hmm.
you know, confirm that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I believe it's time to explore creativity in many different forms.
Hmm.
Like for example, like I'm coming back to a lot of things that I love because of the lockdown. Like I'm coming back to writing. I'm coming back to play my guitar, and I'm trying to keep up with my creativity and find a way to have like a way out of these situations. So I believe that all the photographers, they have their personal DNA, which means that they have something to do that they really like a personal thing. And I think in this moment, like maybe they can find something that the brands are gonna fall in love. So like it's kind of being like the other way around. Like they can provide us with ideas, and we can also see if these make sense for our clients or not. Also, like it's time to be reactive.
Yeah, and I'm guessing you're also more receptive to it. You know, as you said, I know you're very busy, but you might pay attention even more now when you see something, you know, something different.
No, for sure, for sure. Like okay, if we see something like I saw a post of Banksy today, like he's stuck at home and he started to draw everywhere in his own house. So it's funny and but I mean, I'm sure this is going to become a new installation and someone are going to buy his apartment for millions.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. Like I think for the moment, it's about what the photographers can provide us that can make a difference. Like see the last Dove campaign. It's full of pictures of the professionals when they remove the masks. They have a lot of marks
Hmm.
in their faces, and it's a beautiful piece. And it's all about photography there. So if they have something that can be emotional or something that are going to provide a new way out of the crisis, I think we are pretty much open to see it.
Great. Rod, did you want to add anything or?
Just keep working, don't stop.
Yeah, like keep creative. What I'm telling to my creatives is like, let's be proactive.
Yeah.
Let's not push. Let's be on time. Let's understand the situation. But please, let's never stop thinking. And I think this is for everyone.
Hmm.
Yeah, absolutely agree. So I think that was the last question I had. I'm just seeing a couple of people posting questions as we spoke. I don't know if you can see it, Gabrielle, but there was one
Yeah.
for you. You want to read it and answer it?
It's Marco's hand. By considering both journeys, how have you faced these difficult days with creativity and resilience with the background of the Brazilian lifestyles that adapts in any condition? I think I talked about that before. Um, I mean, like I think all the Brazilians, they learn something since they born, that they're gonna need to be adaptable, because depends on your situation, depends on the type of family you're born. Like if you are not wealthy and if you're not rich, you have to be creative. You have to be creative to play when you're a kid, because sometimes your family can't buy you the most trendy toy, so you have to invent something. And that this inventive way of thinking, this adaptable way of being a person, this flexibility, and also the optimism is something that we try to bring to our work. So like there is no possibility for us to complain and say, okay, this is a hard situation, we're not going to bring a problem, you're going to bring a solution. So that's, I think, the way, if you started to think that way, you're going to start to change, to see every situation as an opportunity to stand out and not as a problem that you can solve. So it's pretty much, I think, mindset and the way you're gonna tackle that.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
it's. Sorry, go ahead.
I know Marcus is a good friend of mine, so big shout out to
Yeah,
Marcus.
yeah.
Yeah, I think that's all the questions I had. I don't know if there's anything else you want to share before we log out.
No, I just wanted to thank you for the opportunity to be here and to talk and gather again with you and all the photographers. I think it was a wonderful experience back in November, and we hope we can do it together again, like really soon.
Absolutely, absolutely. As soon as we
Yes.
can do it, you're going to be the first one invited, of course.
Yeah, for me as well, it was a big pleasure, and I'm always open to photographers to send stuff, different creative stuff, and uh, it's our it's our DNA that if you don't research and if you don't find new things, we cannot build our great campaigns. We don't build our great campaigns without you guys. So we really
Yeah.
need you guys to be with us. So there's no advertising without a great photographer, a great director. So please, let's all move forward and get out of this situation together.
Yeah. So to all photographers out there, make sure to promote your work. Gabrielle and Rod are looking for fresh content, and I'm sure a lot of other creatives out there are wanting to see the same. So thank you so much. It's been really great for me, and I'm seeing some comments now on the side. I think it was really useful for everyone. And I really hope to see you very soon, whether it's Belgium, Germany, and most likely Barcelona.
Yeah.
And I'm wishing you a wonderful weekend.
Okay, you
Thank
too.
you so
Have a
much.
good one.
And
Thank
thanks.
you.
Thank
Thank you
you.
so much,
Ciao.
everybody.
Bye,
Thank you
everyone.
for having me. Bye-bye. Bye.